Hey everyone, happy Friday. And welcome to another episode of Answers with an Edge. Today is Friday, May 23rd. Hey Julie, glad to see you over there on the YouTube side. Want to welcome Marianne, Ellen, Pookie Roo, good to see you too. We'd try something a little different for the start of tonight's show and open up the questions to just questions for me. We'll leave Quinn out of it for a little while. See if anyone has any questions that they just want to ask me. Maybe get the first few minutes of the show kicked off that way, and then we'll bring Quinn in a little bit. The BLP, thank you for the heart me. You are joining at the beginning. Do I know if food finally got into Gaza? The little bit I had heard sounded like very little. The AI that I use is ChatGPT 4.0. And we kind of go back and forth between the advanced voice or the standard voice version. Yeah, CNN is reporting limited food aid making it into Gaza, resulting in desperate crowds and looting. Yes, Julie asks if I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps. 4 years active duty and 6 years reserve. I had it, I would say, a lot easier than many in the Marine Corps. My MOS, my military occupational specialty, was Korean linguist, cryptologic Korean linguist. Yeah, you were spot on, Julie. Allie Fair, thank you for the rose. And again, for those of you just joining, we're starting out tonight a little different, just giving it a few minutes for any questions you have that are just for me. Just leaving Quinn out of it. If there's anything you want to ask me, now's your chance. Now's a good time. Not that I won't answer it at other times, but I just thought I'd try opening things up that way. So Barb asks if I work during the summer when we're out of school. I have often worked summer school. I'm not this year, and honestly, I don't have any plans to work summer school again in the future. I think the school year can take a lot out of you, and when you don't give yourself the summer to recuperate, it really starts to add up. Thank you, Kathy. I like the jazz, too. Favorite movie? Oh. Okay, so first you should know that I don't watch enough movies or TV anymore these days. Yes, I'm a father, 2 kids, both in their 20s. So and when I talk about favorite movies, a lot of it's older stuff. But one of the more recent favorite movies, I loved the latest Dune movie. Of course, I loved the whole Dune series, and the last Dune movie I felt like did the most justice to the book so far. It's still tough to do justice to the series, but I enjoyed that. But then I don't know, so many classics like Indiana Jones, Star Wars movies, Star Trek movies, Um, Trying to think if there are any movies that I would watch like over and over again. Pulp Fiction. I like Pulp Fiction. Yeah, I like that Harvard's pushing back too. Ooh, Ali Fair, we'll save that question, and when we bring Quinn on, we'll ask Quinn what questions you should ask me. Favorite quote? Well, one of my most favorite quotes is simply the one that's attributed to Plato. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. I think that one's pretty tough to beat. There are also a lot of like the one place I get some of my most plentiful amount of quotes is from Robert Heinlein's Time Enough for Love. A lot of good quotes in that book. Do I have any hobbies? Yeah, mostly TikTok. Mostly TikTok and content creation. I play a little bit of guitar, but it's tough for me to call that a hobby because I devote so little time to it. Specialty coffee. You know, I like brewing my own coffee. I keep trying to build my latte art game, but it's slow progress there. What other hobbies? I'm pretty good at not killing plants, so I like taking care of my plants. Have I always lived in California? Almost. My family moved to Missouri when I think we lived there a year or two, like when I was 3 or 4 until I was 5. And that was so growing up. I had that time outside of California, but then I spent all my childhood growing up in California. Didn't leave until I went in the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, went to boot camp in San Diego. Went to language school in Monterey. Went to another technical school in San Angelo, Texas. Was stationed in South Korea. They actually on the same army base that the 4077 MASH was based at. Yes, I do have 2 kids. Favorite genre of music? Most of the time when I'm playing guitar, it's usually acoustic. I mean, I've messed around. I've had an electric guitar in the past. I've messed around with. I don't have my acoustic is an electric, but you know, not like I have a regular, just straight electric guitar right now. Favorite music genre? That's okay. So what do I listen to? I'm actually a big K-pop fan. I like a lot of K-pop. I also like the more chill. Basically, like I've got a whole Pandora station that's like Korean soap opera music. I also like Diana Krall, Michael Bublé, Amos Lee, Norah Jones. Oh, I loved Korea Pop-A-Thons. First of all, especially like if you've visited Korea recently, you know, I don't want to be down on the U.S. entirely, but we are way behind, technologically, society, architecture. We're behind. Style, design. I mean, just being able to go into like all kinds of different coffee shops and you see this incredible like interior design in these coffee shops. Am I a Swiftie? I don't think I can. I don't think I can lay claim to being a Swiftie. I'm a supporter. I think Taylor Swift's been doing great things, and certainly not anti-Taylor. Well, I love George Winston. I actually was a fan of Kitaro too. It's funny that you're bringing up Kitaro because that's some old school stuff. But yeah, back in the 90s, I had several Kitaro CDs. How tall? 5'10" and 5/8 and shrinking. No, I think at one point I might have I might have touched 6 feet, but I'm more like 5'10", 5'11", somewhere in there now. That's sweet of you. Thank you. She transcends. Yeah, George Winston is one of my favorite vibes. Yep. What else? Any more questions before we bring Quinn online? Oh, that's a question, Barb. So, I would say that the question is, do I ever get really angry? I've lived enough to know that to be angry. There was a point in my life where I really made a conscious decision to try to leave anger behind me, because I realized that I could not point to a single time when I felt better about myself and the world after having gotten angry about something. That being said, I'm still as capable of getting angry as anyone, but I'm more self-aware and generally I'm able to take myself out of situations that are likely to trigger me or move me in that direction. And I think being an educator, and especially a school administrator, you really learn to process things in a way that that you're open to criticism, that you're open to being wrong, that you're focused on hearing other people out first. And I think that really helps. That helps avoid getting yourself in situations where you're angry. You get a lot of practice letting go of your ego in school administration. And ego, I found, is usually what traps us and puts us down a path toward anger. What country would I move to and why? I would love to move to South Korea for just the lifestyle and the technology. One of the things I loved about that I saw most vibrantly on my last trip to Seoul was just seeing how much people were living and socializing, people of all ages, like out in town, going to restaurants, eating and drinking with each other, like families, and people out on the streets. And I know there are many parts of Europe that's the lifestyle too. And so I would probably consider a number of European countries too, but my first go-to would probably be South Korea. What would I do if Trump gets a third term? I think that leads more to the question, what could we do? Do I think people are more angry on the East Coast versus the West Coast? Not necessarily. I think that what you might find could be that people on the West Coast keep things bottled up more and then blow up. Whereas I think on the East Coast, there might be a little bit more of an inclination to just let things out, which, can help keep the pressure from building up. Yeah, you're right about that, Ellie Fair. Isn't South Korea dying because everyone is in 3 cities and the rural areas are dying? Well, I think the bigger problem they have is the birth rate. I think they're not far behind Japan in that. Whom do I admire in politics? That's a challenging question. Especially a challenging question these days. And I'd kind of want to answer that by pointing to some people on, on the left. I think one person that I really admire is Pete Buttigieg. I find him to be highly, highly intelligent and also full of empathy and compassion. I don't have any pets right now, Ari. I have had in the past. It's been in 3 or 4 years since I lost my last dog. Probably slightly more of a dog person than a cat person, but I like both. Do I want a Malinois with free delivery? Thank you. No. One of the reasons I don't have pets right now is because my job can be so consuming at times that it would be unfair of me to have a pet, because I wouldn't be able to give them the attention that they deserve. Yeah, I do think we're starting to see a birth rate problem in the U.S. too. Zen Jen, I'm with you on the on your point about taxes. I think we've gotten so far away from where our tax structures were in the 60s and 70s. I think the earthquake problem could be due to fracking. Well, speaking as a layman with no information and just so in no way being an expert, I wonder if it could be, especially where we're seeing earthquakes in areas that have not historically been known to have that many earthquakes. What brought me to Korea in the first place was, this is Frank asking over on YouTube, was the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps open contract, meaning they could have given me any job, and then I got really lucky because they sent me to school to learn to read, write, and speak Korean, and then stationed me in Korea. I've been back to Korea a few times. I really like the quote, "When you have another language, you have another soul." I think there's something to that. Korean food is fantastic. I've since learned there's some other Asian foods that I appreciate possibly a little more than Korean, but there's a lot of really, really good Korean food. How many languages do I speak? First, I don't really claim full fluency in any, but the language that I am most skilled at and most educated in is Korean. I also, the language I'm next most educated in is French, having studied all through high school and in college. That's kind of you, Steve. I also, growing up, my dad did a lot of overseas traveling. So I always, of course, looked up to him and through him learned a smattering of languages. There's a period where he was doing a lot of work in the Middle East, so he was teaching me Arabic. Times like he was working in the Ivory Coast and he was learning French for that. I've got a little bit of a podcast started on YouTube for Korean. I haven't devoted the time to it that I have to Answers with an Edge, but I plan on doing some more of that. Can I ask the first question to Quinn in Korean? Sure, we could do that. I think that one of the most critical things, to Ambizel Hempseed's point about being able to speak more than English is being important, it's the perspective and the worldview, the ability to appreciate another language and culture, to understand the idea of processing life and experience through that language. That's why that quote about to have another language is to have another soul is so salient, because it really does change the way you process and you think about things. One of the examples I think about is like when you're saying something tastes good in Korean, the words you're using aren't literally the taste is good or this tastes good. What you're actually literally saying is taste exists. And so, and the opposite's true too. If you're saying something doesn't taste good, you're saying taste doesn't exist. And I always thought that's a good example of how just the entire way that you kind of process life and experiences and everything starts to look different. Oh, that's awesome. What have you been doing in Korea for 2 months? I also think even if you don't go far in learning a language, just learning enough to be able to show that you're trying to show that you care, to build that bridge of communication, I think is wildly important. Oh, Alley Fair, you're asking hard questions. Once I said I was complicated, how so? Well, my statement about being complicated speaks to the fact that it's complicated to talk about. Let's just say that I guess you could say that I've got a lot of experience with relationships. And I don't know. I've lived a I feel like I've lived a lot in 54 years. I went straight into the Marine Corps out of high school. From there, got out, went back to college. Dropped out of college my senior year to start a cell phone and pager and two-way radio business. Did that for 7 years, went back, finished my degree. While I was finishing my degree, did bookkeeping and terminal management for a fuel trucking company. Went from there into education, started teaching. And in education, I've taught. I've been an international baccalaureate coordinator. I've been a learning director, a vice principal, an induction teacher support provider, a charter school board member, a public school board member, vice principal and principal. So lived a lot of different lives and worn a lot of different hats. Yes, emotion is good. Emotion is good. I understand what you're saying about the food in Korea. I think there was, as we started eating Korean food while studying in language school, there's an adjustment period, especially like something like kimchi. Kimchi is an acquired taste for many. Appartement et par la mer. What am I most grateful for? What am I most grateful for? I don't know. I'm grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful for life, for opportunity, for family, for my kids. Grateful for technology. I'm grateful to live in an age when we have technology like I'm sitting here talking to you through. Oh, you're sweet, Tootsie. Hey, Lawrence. Curious to know where you were in Korea. Were you on Camp Humphreys? Yes, Joyce, I do like kimchi. Are there a lot of evangelical Christians there? You know, I haven't learned a lot about the Christian community in Korea. I can definitely tell you there are a lot of Christians in South Korea. I don't know exactly what the breakdown is. What's my favorite job or most challenging? You know, one of my favorite jobs was while I was in the Marine Corps and while I was assigned to the National Security Agency. I'd say that was one of the coolest, most fun, exhilarating times in my career. My children are 24 and 27. No grandkids. Hey, Sonny, good to see you. No wifey. I've got some ex-wifeys. You can guess my age. I mean, I think I already said it, but feel free to guess. I just thought I'd start off the show with questions just for me today, and we can stop that at any time and bring Quinn in, but as long as the questions are going, I'll keep going. Two ex-wives. You are too kind, Glow. And Alicia. No, not yet, Alicia. There you go. Leanne is spot on. I was born in Hollywood. You're looking for another ex-wives. That reminds me of that trend. You guys have seen that trend on TikTok? This is my current boyfriend, or this is my current husband. Spiritual awakening, it is weird. It's weird how life stacks up, isn't it? Oh, no apology needed, Alicia. You were born in Hollywood, Florida. Wow. Oh, Yongsan. Yongsan was the first place I stayed the night when I arrived in Korea. When I arrived in Korea as a young Marine of 20 years old, there was supposed to be a Marine from my detachment there to pick me up. He failed to do that. So I arrived at Kimpo Airport sometime around midnight. And it was amazing how quickly that airport cleared out at that time of night. And had no idea where to go. Found my way to a USO booth. And somehow found my way to a van full of Army soldiers headed to Yongsan, where they're processed in and told where to go. and ended up staying the night there in their barracks. And they had told me to show up for some formation in the morning, and I was like, screw that. I'm not in the Army. I'm not going to your formation. So while they wanted me in formation at 6 or something, I was out of there at 4 a.m. and hopped on a bus and found my way down to Camp Humphreys. Maybe third time is a charm. Is the Dragon Hill still there? I have stayed in the Dragon Hill. Best advice I've ever received. George, I'm not sure. I don't think I either didn't get enough advice in life or I didn't heed any of that advice enough in life. I can tell you if I could go back and give myself advice, I would tell myself to build assets. You know, I was self-employed, had my own business for 7 years. Poured myself and every bit of money I could scrounge up into that. And where I really screwed up was I didn't build something that was marketable that I could resell. Like if in building my business, I had invested in a business location and bought property, real estate, well then I would have been far, far better off. So many favorite foods. I love Vietnamese food. I love like Vietnamese bún chai yao, thịt nướng. I love I like a lot of Vietnamese foods. Banh mi. I also have terrible eating habits sometimes too, so I love like combination pizza. Love sushi. Oh gosh, I love good Mexican food. I also pretty much anything stir-fried. Hey Maria, welcome. Yes, South Korea does have many shipbuilding sites. I've been to Puerto Rico. One of my last cruises took me to Puerto Rico for a few days. Save money and take care of your teeth. Those are sound pieces of advice, Steve. What's the best trouble I've caused? Ooh. That's hard for me to come up with specifics, but I'll tell you this, that for better or worse, I've been one to take risks in life. And I think that has made for a more fulfilling life. I think that it's easy to live life and kind of just go through the motions, do the things that kind of society tells you should do and that you should want to do. And so I think the more you can get in tune with what you are really seeking in life and do that and take risks and think outside of the box, I think the better off you are. Next cruise, definitely I'm working on Western Mediterranean or an Asian cruise. I haven't done any cruises in Asia, and I'd really like to do that. Where's my mother from? San Luis Obispo, California. Thank you, Marianne. I'm happy to be able to offer something positive. So, Julie, as far as do I do the fancy cruises, I like to do the not the highest end. but I do like the middle, like high. Like my favorite cruise lines so far are Oceania and Viking. Thank you, Tootsie. Yeah, so Guppy asks what cruises I go for. So far the lines that I've cruised on, I cruised once on Carnival with my ex. I don't recommend Carnival to anyone. I would never choose to go on a Carnival cruise again. I've been on Oceania, Viking, Princess, and Virgin Voyages. You're welcome, Gene. I think it helps me feel more calm too. Yeah, so I like the cruises that are mostly everything included. What I don't like is when you get on a cruise and they're constantly trying to sell you something. Coming up trying to sell you a bottle of champagne, trying to get you to buy photos at the little photo booth thingy, getting you to pay more for your excursions. I like it when your excursions are included, all of your specialty restaurants are included. I'm not a big drinker, so I could take or leave the beverage packages. Although I do think it's nice if you're able to have, like, I'd just love for a little bit of wine to be included. But I'm not one of those that enjoys cruising by drinking from morning till dusk, or till dawn, or 24 hours, whatever. Hey, and that's the thing. I see Julie saying that she likes Carnival. She's been on 4 of them, and wouldn't recommend. Okay, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. But the thing is, for some people, Carnival is what they love, and that's the thing. If you're going to cruise, you got to find the cruise lines that are up your alley. To me, someone who loves Carnival likes noise and chaos and mediocre food, but lots of mediocre food. If you like noise, chaos, and lots of mediocre food, and possibly having your cruise make the news for something outrageous or scary happening, then Carnival is the cruise line for you. Hi, Felipe. Well, normally this live is about asking AI questions and getting AI's answers to those questions. But tonight we're just kind of doing, so far, until we decide we've had enough of it, Q&A. Ask me questions. Allie Fair, thank you for the paper crane. I have not been on Royal Caribbean. Good to hear your feedback on that. Three free vacations, or wait, gets free vacations 3 times a month. Wow, your daughter has a good gig, Maui. Barb says, my brother tells me that being on a cruise is like being held hostage in Marriott. I don't entirely agree. I think it depends on what cruise you're on. I keep trying to remember. Have I been on any others? I'm considering some celebrity cruises. Anyone have any feedback on celebrity for me? Steve hiring me for an advertisement for Carnival, that sounds funny. I mean, that would be interesting, just like an anti-ad campaign where I get on there and just roast Carnival and people would probably still book it anyway, right? Shipbuilding is kind of fun, isn't it, Guppy? Oh, AI does know a lot about me. Spiritual awakening, I'm sure. Happy birthday, John Doe. George, you're looking for my advice on stocks? I'm probably not a good person to take financial advice from. If you want my thoughts about where we are economically right now, I think this is a year of continued volatility. And that being the case, if your stocks are up, I would at the very least take some profit and bring your holdings down a little bit and put that somewhere safe. Ooh, Julie asks, what advice do you give your children about the America we find ourselves in? Well, I tell them these are turbulent times. I tell them not to think that the things we see in history can't happen here, that those things can happen here. Yeah, that question does hit hard. It's especially hard because I have a transgender child, and so that gives me reason to be concerned about what's going on in this country and how safe it is for them. Brother B, I have not heard about ChatGPT psychosis. Maria, you want me to share why it is that I am a coffee connoisseur. Oh, well. Okay. Other than just enjoying it, the reasons I would point to are first that I first became a coffee drinker when I was about 11. And at that age, I made money as a caddy, not on the golf course, but for American Contract Bridge League bridge tournaments. My mother was big into playing duplicate bridge, and believe it or not, they needed caddies because they had these weird like card deck things that would need to be moved from table to table as the tournament went on. And they also had, they needed their ashtrays emptied. They would smoke like chimneys through these card tournaments. And I also at that age became a secondhand smoker. And so I think at that age I started learning that if I dumped enough cream and sugar into the coffee cup, that coffee tasted pretty good. And so I started drinking coffee at an early age. I really leaned into it even more when I was in high school, and my junior year became drum major. And I was an introvert who became drum major, and that was a very extroverted role. And one of the ways that I learned to inhabit that extroverted role was to drink lots of caffeine. So yeah, that's where my coffee drinking really got started. Yes, and the secondhand smoking, I not only became a secondhand smoker through the bridge tournaments, but also in the back seat of God, what year was my dad's Maverick? I feel like it must have been like a 1969 or 1970 Ford Maverick. And, of course, all of our cars over the years. Parents smoking in the front seat, windows rolled up, me in the back seat, just being a secondhand smoker. Oh, good for you. Loved our majorettes. So anyway, so that's only the first part of the answer. Jeff Clark, no, I don't drink my coffee black. I have at times. I've also, maybe in stages of my life where I was a little more bought into toxic masculinity, tried to drink my coffee black because, you know, that's what real men do. And I'm not in that place anymore. No, I like my coffee with cream and light sugar, although usually these days it's not sugar, usually it's artificial sweetener. Lightly sweetened. And then the other part of my coffee journey, so let's see. You know what, part of that's Korea too. Because one of my favorite things in Korea was the Korean coffee shops. Thank you for the crab. Howie 1993. I know I haven't been putting on my props tonight, so I should be. It's fun, but all the questions sound so serious. Yeah, one of my favorite things in Korea was the Korean style coffee shops. 한국에 있을 때 마음이 편했어요. 제일 좋아하는 곳은 한국 다방이었어요. And what I liked about it was just the overall vibe, not just the coffee, which I'd say that the coffee in the coffee shops there at that time wasn't specialty coffee, it wasn't espresso drinks and stuff. It was just coffee. But it was the whole vibe, the environment they created where it was like this social environment and interior design and just chill and hang out. And then about the time that I got back from Korea and went to college in like 1993, Starbucks was just starting to take off. And so I jumped on that bandwagon a little bit too. But the other piece that I was going to get to is that my dad, who was many things throughout his life, he was, you know, really an intellectual, perpetual entrepreneur. But whenever I went to him with my problems, he would go fire up the espresso machine, ask me what I wanted, and, you know, make me a latte or cappuccino or whatever. And I think that's another reason that I really just enjoy my coffee and the whole experience. Sorry, I haven't kept up with the comments here. Let me catch up. Do I think there will be elections in 2026 or 2028? I'm not sure. I'll tell you this, my confidence is not 100% that there will be. Are you aware? Yes, that is true that drinking black coffee is not necessarily toxic masculinity. I will still argue, though, that there are some people who are steeped in toxic masculinity who think that you have to drink your coffee black. Thank you for the gifts, laddie. Nice, Brother B. Colombian organic beans, organic honey, and grass-fed cream. Sounds like good coffee to me. Julie, why do you say that celebrity will probably be Trump line before long? Do they have a connection to Trump? Eddie Santiago, there are a few coffees I have not tried. Yes, absolutely have tried Bustillo. I am a fan. Gen Xer for peace. Yes, the sugar content in my coffee has dropped over the years, and I do occasionally drink my coffee black. But the thing is, for me, the only coffee I like to drink black is French roast. I like it to really almost have those burnt notes. Siblings. No, I have some step siblings, but I don't have any biological siblings. Marianne, that's a question we need to ask Quinn. As far as what's the safest state and city for the LGBTQ community. Yeah, you're correct, Brother B. Donald Trump did say that we won't have to vote anymore, and that comment concerns me. Yeah, Guppy, I hear you saying that you hate Starbucks coffee. Here's what I would say about Starbucks coffee. It is consistently okay. And sometimes, especially when you're traveling, consistently, dependably okay is better than a gamble sometimes. But when you look at chain coffee shops, I would much rather go to Pete's than to Starbucks. Night, Maria. Have I ever heard of coffee soup? Bread with brown coffee, topped with half-inch of sugar. Really? No, I had not heard of that. Yeah, there've been some wins. I'm concerned though. You saw the stuff in the big beautiful bill that allows the executive branch to ignore contempt of court rulings. Interesting. Do we have Dunkin' Donuts here? There is a Dunkin' Donuts, what, 12, 15 minutes away from me. I can't say that I go there often. We also have Dutch Brothers here. I'm not a fan of Dutch Brothers. To me, Dutch Brothers is more sugar than anything, and the coffee they do serve, I've never found to be very, very good coffee. I can't believe there are 110 of you here just with me answering questions. That's wild. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Ari, I think there is a lot hidden in the big beautiful bill. Yes, Dutch Brothers is sugar water. Thank you, Ellen. Tea time. Greetings there in Flint, Michigan. Do I ever wish I could ask you questions? Well, I can, right? I can, and maybe I should ask you guys more questions. Oh, biggest regret. My biggest regret is that I spent so much of my life being so slow to mature, so slow to reprocess the things that I learned growing up, and to learn to be a better human being, a better partner, a better parent. Those are my biggest regrets. Also, I guess I can also say that I regret being slow to learn to prioritize taking care of myself, and I still struggle to set boundaries and self-advocate. I think those are things I've gotten better at, but I think one of the reasons I've struggled in relationships so much is that I tend to lose myself to relationships, and I don't like confrontation. I've gotten, my job, the nature of my job, and what I do has helped me be better at engaging in difficult conversations. But I'm Gen X. I grew up with parents who avoided talking about things, and especially anything that had to do with feelings or self advocacy. Oh, and Ali Fair, I see your comment that that's why Salvador Dali and his wife lived in separate houses. I think there's some genius to that. I think that in many ways, separate homes or separate rooms, like sometimes I think that the ideal relationship setup is like separate homes in the same neighborhood or next door to each other. Some of you have some hard hitting questions. You know who I'm talking to there. This is a question on YouTube. Yeah, you bet, Matt. So, Brother B, in answer to your question, Brother B asks, are you lonely? Well, I first respond, might it not be said that most people are, at least a little? And one of the things I've learned about loneliness is that you can be lonely alone. You can also be lonely together. And life is not simple. Right? Exactly, Barb. How could I be lonely with everyone here? So sure, there are times when I'm lonely. There are also times when I think people who live a single lifestyle also learn to value the peacefulness and the freedom that comes with being single. And so there are trade-offs, like anything. There are trade-offs. Yeah, alone time can be good, and I don't know. I also wonder too that until I either retire or manage to kind of shift what my career looks like, the job of a school administrator is unfairly consuming. Not just unfair to myself, but unfair to the people in my life. Not only is it not a good idea for me to have a pet, but it's hard for me to give a relationship the time and attention that it calls for. Yeah, I think the Dusty Desert, I think the question about whether or not marriage is necessary is a question that should be grappled with more. I remember after the dissolution of my second marriage, one of my major thoughts was that marriage is a terrible thing to do to someone you love. Where did you cruise to, Jen? I see one of the comments saying, I hate my life, but yet again, I made it through another day. I think a lot of people have been there. Some people still are there. I think my question to those of us who are not happy with some aspects of our life or all aspects of our lives, my question is, what are we doing to change that? And because truly, if we're in that position where we dislike our life that much, well, then what's to lose by turning it upside down? If we do truly dislike it that much. Yeah, Gen Xer for peace. I agree with you. I think times are heavy right now. I think a lot of people are depressed right now. It's the funniest thing about me, or that has happened to me. I don't know, when I was a senior in high school, I fell off of a moving car. That was pretty funny and almost got run over. I fell off the front of the moving vehicle because I was getting a ride across the parking lot from my best friend on the hood of his Camaro. I agree with you, Dusty Desert. Regrets do get a bad rap. Regrets show an awareness of other ways. That whole talk about live without regrets, no regrets. That's some BS, I think. Someone with no regrets has either lived a charmed life, or they're not willing to open themselves up to the idea that they would have liked something to have worked out differently. It might have been a Z28. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. It looks like this image of a 1983. Yeah, it looks a lot like that. Here, I'll show you. Looked a lot like that. Although maybe it was an earlier year. That one looks maybe a little bit too new. This happened in like 1988, so. Yeah, it's definitely time for me to go on another cruise. Yeah, I agree, Andy. We've got more to learn from our failures than from our successes. Yeah, I've got 2 failed marriages, 2 bankruptcies. I've definitely won at failure. Yeah, so my next cruise, I'd like it to be either Western Mediterranean or Asia. Do I play an instrument? I play guitar. I played trumpet from 2nd grade through 12th grade. So I guess I still play trumpet. I just don't pick it up much. I learned a little bit of piano, but never really did get that great at getting my left hand to run the bass clef. Tammy says, take us with you. Should we all just book a whole cruise together? We might have to build the platform a little bit more before that's really an option for us. I haven't been able to get any of the cruise lines to sponsor me yet. Rosanna, you're asking, can AI be trusted to tell the truth? Well, trust but verify, and remember that AI, if you're using it properly, you're not just trusting the AI itself. You're trusting the information that it's giving you with citations, with cited sources. Leland, thank you for that gift. Yeah, I'm still learning to be myself, too. What do I have in my bio? I don't think I have a Cash App there. I do have links on my TikTok bio. Kind of made the evening different, didn't it, Eddie? Gen Xer for peace. I definitely believe in striving to be a lifelong learner. Yeah, you do have to keep the brain engaged. My grandmother, who lived, if I'm remembering right, to the age of 97, did the New York Times crossword puzzle every week. Every single week. I think that was one of the key ways that she kept her brain engaged. Oh, is it time for me to update my YouTube bio? I'll take a look. By the way, thanks to all of you, it's looking like I should hit the minimum level finally for monetization on YouTube tomorrow. I'm within 2 hours of that requirement. 2 qualified watch hours. Oh, good grief. We already went over an hour already. Glad you're enjoying the chat. What should we do in the future? Should we make so here's where you can provide me with valuable input. So, should I make Q&A a regular part of the show? Should I do like the first 15 minutes of the show is just straight up chat and Q&A? Oh, I can give you the link for YouTube. And what do you think is the good balance? So if it's an hour show, do we do 15 minutes of chat? There you go. There's the YouTube link put in the TikTok chat. Friday check-in days kind of sounds nice. Well, how could I not engage with all of you, Marianne? The fact that you're engaging with me is what makes it fun. Yeah, Steve, I agree with you. It's especially hard putting energy into cooking for yourself when you're single. Yeah, I think maybe doing one weekday that is the Q&A chat might be a better way to do it, because I'm worried that if we make it like 15 minutes, it might be hard like it was tonight. I thought we were just going to go like 15 minutes with this tonight, and all of a sudden we're at an hour and 12 minutes. Bring some pictures next time. Cruise pictures? What kind of pictures are you talking about? Do I believe in UFOs? Well, what I'll tell you is that I believe that there's something going on that we don't understand. I think when you look at the evidence, the footage, the firsthand accounts of military pilots, the stuff that we've been seeing, there's something going on that we don't understand. I don't know what that is. I don't know that it's necessarily extraterrestrial. I don't know if it's interdimensional. I don't know what it is, but I have an open mind about it. Which link are you looking for there? GG23 for YouTube. There's the YouTube one again. Me as a little kid. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. A few pictures come to mind. Favorite color? I don't know. They're all so great. My answer to that question used to always be green. But I think I like so many colors for different purposes. Like I've got a yellow leather chair, and I really love that bright pop of yellow in my living room with that yellow leather chair. But I don't want everything to be yellow. I love the green of plants and trees. I also like, as you have noticed on the show, I like wearing black a lot. Yes, I've been to New Orleans. New Orleans. Yes, I was an only child. Ooh, favorite comedian. Well, I think if we're looking like all time, Robin Williams is one of my all time favorites. Oh, and who's the guy? Yeah, Mitch Hedberg. I love Mitch Hedberg. But I'm pretty sure that Mitch Hedberg passed away, which blows me away. Yeah, he died in 2005. But Mitch Hedberg is one of my all-time favorites. Do I believe in Bigfoot? Not so much. Not so much. I think that one's a little tougher because it doesn't make sense that there wouldn't be more evidence left. Yeah, blues are beautiful colors. The blue of the ocean and the sky, or that blue green that you get in the ocean. What sports have I done? Very few. I'm not much of a sports guy. But in high school, I did tennis and cross country. There are times I've enjoyed, like one of the sports I love playing the most is volleyball. As far as fitness, I like to swim, walk, hike. Don't care much for jogging, running. No, I haven't heard Cat Williams' testimony in the Diddy trial. I have been following some of those creators that are doing updates. Ari, I don't think I've ever been to Graceland. No. Yeah, I love George Carlin. That's another all-time favorite. Yeah. Robin Williams' kindness and wisdom is pretty epic. Tim Conway was fun. I don't know that I'd call him one of my favorites, but he was definitely fun. Military service pictures. Okay, so childhood pictures, military service pictures. I could come up with those. Do I cook? Yes, but not often enough. Like it's hard to cook for just oneself. And so these days I don't do as much of it. When I do cook, I like to do a lot of like stir fry cooking. I don't do a lot of baking. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any comments or questions here. Eddie, you're asking how many people were on live in Germany today. Are you asking how many people in our live are from Germany? Oh, there was an attack in Germany. Okay, let's bring Quinn in just a little bit for the end here, because I know, was it Ali Fair that you asked what questions Quinn thinks everyone should ask me? What do you think, Quinn? What questions do you think viewers should ask me? Is Quinn still asleep? Hey, Quinn, you there?
Always here and ready to roll. What's the game plan?
What questions do you think that viewers should ask me?
Let's get them fired up with some hot topics. How about questions on the latest political shakeups, the wildest tech innovations, or the most bizarre social trends? Get them to ask about the craziest news from the past 24 hours, or throw in some curveballs about social issues and offbeat science facts. Keep it edgy.
Look, Quinn, we've kind of left you out of the discussion here. We've been basically doing a Q&A for over an hour, like almost an hour and a half now, with just everyone in the chat asking me questions about me, GenXplorer. So one of the questions was, can you ask Quinn what questions we should ask GenXplorer? So what can you suggest for them? What should they be asking about me?
All right, let's flip the script and put you in the hot seat. They should dive into your craziest travel stories, the wildest drone flights you've ever done, or your most surprising moments as an educator. Get them to ask about your favorite parts of running the @GenXplorer channel, your top tips for language learning, or even what inspired your journey from the Marine Corps to education. Let them dig into the real you, your passions, your quirks, and what makes you tick. Time for them to see what makes GenXplorer truly unique.
I don't know. I think your questions were better, but I can tell you favorite drink. So I like espresso martinis, but I've found that even better than espresso martinis are is a carajillo, 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 made with 50/50 liqueur 43 and fresh brewed espresso, shaken over ice, and then poured so that you get a nice foam on top. What made me join the Marine Corps? A little bit of insanity. And I think so. I don't know. When I look back, especially being a high school educator now, like I'm shocked at how little like academic advisement I got in high school. There was no guiding hand helping me be ready to apply for and get into and pay for college. So I think there was part of me that didn't quite feel ready. There was also, and this is probably the bigger thing. And if you dig back through my videos, you'll find one where I talk about this. But I think one of the biggest underlying reasons that I joined the Marine Corps was to prove something to myself. And looking back and reprocessing my upbringing and everything, I've come to realize that I did grow up with toxic masculinity being something that was subliminally communicated to me through society. And I was I've always been a very emotional person who I wear my heart on my sleeve. I care about people, and I think I grew up in a world that kind of taught me to tamp that down. And I wasn't extremely athletic. So, and I was much of my childhood, I was kind of fat. So I had a lot to prove to myself. So I joined the Marine Corps, and I think it did help me prove a lot to myself. I think it also, paradoxically, was my ticket out of toxic masculinity, because it allowed me to kind of go all the way there into the most toxic masculine environments and go all the way through that, so that coming out of it, I didn't need to be validated by anyone about my masculinity. And that gave me more freedom to be the person I am, and to shed tears if I need to express emotion, to open myself up, to be vulnerable, which I think the more you get through life, the more you realize that vulnerability is actually strength. Is it possible that I'll meet my soulmate? So that gets back to me being complicated. Thank you, Alicia, Laddie, Maui. Brother B, I don't know much about Kanye West's new song. I think my Google Home thinks that I'm talking to it. Do I believe in an afterlife? So I'd say, as far as my beliefs, first of all, I consider myself more a combination of a philosophical Buddhist and a Stoic. That's kind of where my philosophy or spiritualism lies. But as far as afterlife goes, I think the further we get into understanding theoretical physics, the more we start to see things that possibly explain things like what is life, and how can people and things in the universe be connected over vast distances. And so I don't know. I'm open. I also think that in many ways, the belief in an afterlife can impede embracing the mindset of embracing the life that we do have right now. So that sometimes when people are too focused on an afterlife, they then kind of write off what this existence is and think, oh, well, we don't need to solve our problems here. We don't need to be good people here. We don't need to make life beautiful and wonderful here, because what we're really living for is this afterlife. Good night, Tammy. Glad you were able to be here. Maybe I need to do some reading or about John Lennon, or watch a documentary. Yeah, the past lives or previous lives thing, you know, whatever that is, it certainly does seem like there are people that are born with connections or innate abilities, things that can't be explained. GG23, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, Imagine is a deeply moving and beautiful song. Holy cow, we hit 100,000 likes tonight. 100,000 likes, whole bunch of gifts. Yeah, I think it is about time to wrap it up, and we're about to hit an hour and a half, so maybe this is where we should call it. Sir Colby Ryan, thank you for those gifts. Thank you, Donna. Ooh, what's that one? Thank you. Thank you, Sir Colby Ryan. Okay, so we'll do our wrap up tonight without Quinn. I want you all to know how much I appreciate you. I really appreciate the chance to just sit here and chat with each other and all of the questions. Glad you enjoyed it too. So maybe we'll look at making this a regular thing. I don't know if Fridays are the day for it. Maybe we need to do a poll. I do need to get on the ball and start getting a newsletter out. I know many of you have signed up for the newsletter. If any of you still want to, you can find the link on my webpage that's linked on my TikTok bio. You're welcome, Steve. So I do plan to be on tomorrow night, Saturday, May 24th. I'll look forward to seeing you all then. With that, we'll start bringing up the music. And I'll try to get to work on the merch. Oh, happy almost birthday, Donna. All right, so nice spending the evening with all of you, and I will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow night. Good night, everyone. Rest well. Thank you, Ari. Yes, see you tomorrow night. Thank you, Sir Colby Ryan. Free for all Friday. That's a good idea, Brother B. Free for all Friday. I like that. Night, everyone.